Good morning on this lovely fall morning. I am just going to be sitting here at my table, so pull up a chair, grab some coffee, and let's chat. It's hot. Okay, so we are here to discuss the last month and a half of our homeschooling life. And let's just say things have already changed so much. Honestly, things change a lot in the first couple of months, usually anyway, just because you're kind of finding your groove, you're trying to figure out what works. And it does seem like every year it does change, which it's just how the cookie crumbles, right? Because that's just life. Everything from year to year changes. Your ages of your kids change. So really, it's not unreasonable for you to change things up in the first couple of months. It's very usual. Let's just dive down into what exactly we have been doing in the mornings. And before we do our homeschool designated time, we have been doing read alouds, and our first read aloud this year was Charlotte's Web. It went over exceptionally well. The kids loved it, loved it, loved it. And then we did that. After that, we did Mr. Popper's Penguins. They loved that one as well. And of course, the consensus is the movie wins because that's how it is. And currently, we are finishing up Call of the Wild. And that one has been a little meh with the kids. Mainly, it's the younger kids. They're like not very interested. I'm finding they are running around a little bit more in the mornings than trying, they're not sitting still as much. So my older son really likes it because he likes adventure stories and things like that. So that works well for him. But those are the only books we have read so far. I would have liked to have gotten through a few more already, but we're going at our pace and that's totally fine. We're just going to kind of keep going in order in terms of our day and our schedule. So next up, we go downstairs and we do our unit study, morning basket, whatever you guys want to call it, to where we actually sit down all around the table together and talk about a topic. Now, if you saw my looping videos, you will know that this is my first loop of the day. Well, now it's not. I have decided after lots of trial and error that looping in the morning is not going to be working for us. So what we did before, just so you know, we did history in the morning, and then we looped it with science, in that we did history one day, the next day we did science, and then the next day we did history, and it was kind of a 1-to-1 ratio. And that did not work. Now, last year, we didn't do history at all. So this was a totally new thing for me. And I thought, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. No worries. We've done looping before. But because these topics require so much depth to dive into them, I found that my kids were getting too engrossed into history and they were asking about it the next day, or we hadn't finished a project from the day before and they really wanted to finish it. So we ended up doing that, and then we ended up talking about the other topic some more. So I found it was just, we wanted to cover a topic at a time. And trying to go back and forth between, colonial life and space was not really working. So we just finished up colonial life, and then now we are currently on space right now. And I'm finding it is working a lot better because the kids aren't trying to focus their attention on two different topics at the same time, because then they don't really remember what we talked about the other days, and I have to kind of do a recap. So I found it was just getting frustrating, and when things get frustrating, you need a change. That's just how it is. That if it's just not feeling right and you're not getting a groove and it's not flowing easily, then change is probably required. So for the last two, shall we say, unit studies, I, instead of flip-flopping them, alternating them and doing a loop, I decided just to nix the loop altogether. And we are now officially just doing a 1 unit at a time. And we're just kind of going to alternate topics. So we did 2 of our histories because we have a lot more history topics that we're going to be covering. So we're going to be doing 2 history units and then a science unit, and then 2 history units and then a science unit. And I'm hoping we'll get through 2 history and probably only 1. I'm not sure if we'll get to 2 sciences this year. I'm before the end of the year. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. So next up in our schedule, we have our one-on-one time with the kids, and then the other kids have independent time. And we kind of do this in a circular rotation type thing. I usually start with my younger son, and that has been working out really, really well. We are continuing to do that method simply because I think his attention span is there in the morning, ready to go, and he kind of loses it if I don't go directly to him after the unit study. I find that trying to get him away from his independent work and his, shall I say, learning through play activities, he doesn't want to come back to me. So it's a lot easier just to keep him at the table and just to bring out the manipulatives and the different things we're working with right then and there. And so he's not going away and then coming back. So that is working really well. I'm going to be continuing that. We did that last year, and again, it's this year. It's just flowing really well. So we're not going to change things that work, right? And for my daughter and my son for the one-on-one, we are having some trouble in terms of trying to get it all and fit it all in before lunch. So these are our core subjects that I'm referring to one-on-one time. So our language and our math. We've already done our science or our history, and now we're doing our language and our math at this time, and I like to finish before lunch. So one-on-one time with my son is going just fine. We don't have any problems with that, which is good. We are doing really well with the good and the beautiful for him. He's doing level 3 and loving it. It's working well for me. He can do some of it independent at this point, and then I only kind of come over to help him with the things that is kind of needed. And so that's really nice with the good and the beautiful at level 3. I do feel like the good and the beautiful he's kind of getting a little bit bored with. So I'm not at the point where I'm ready to change things up yet. I have talked to him about it, and he says, no, he's fine. So until he gives me the, let's change vibe, or he tells me it's time, then, we're going to keep chugging along with the same thing that we're doing. For his math, he is continuing to do Beast Academy. I am finding it the same as last year. And that's totally fine with me, but I'm finding the Beast Academy, you do have to do a little bit of supplemental work, just simply because it gives a lesson and then sample problems, and that's fine. But again, my kids, if you guys have probably noticed, my kids are very hands-on and active, so we tend to do a couple of games and math activities with my older son, and we play games, as I've mentioned before in my other videos, the type of things we do for that. And that's working really, really well. As for my daughter, she is going to require some changing up a bit, and I have not done it yet simply because I haven't figured out the way I want to go about changing her curriculum, or not sure exactly what we're doing. So before, I have always taught my kids very hands-on and just really interactive, fun and learning activities, as you guys have probably seen in my videos. So for my daughter, I am already doing that for her and her language and her reading, because really right now we are focusing on her reading. She's at that age where that is super important. Now, I do feel like when we're talking about the overall language or English topic or subject of learning, I do feel like it has to encompass a lot more than reading. You have to talk about writing, and you have to talk about grammar, or the other two factors. For grammar, I am not saying that it's not important at this age to do it, but I am finding with the good and the beautiful, so right now she's doing the good and the beautiful level K, I'm finding that it's just not needed. And she is just, the reading that is enveloped in that is kind of boring for her compared to what we're already doing. So I found that honestly, when we were doing the good and the beautiful lessons with her, she was out in Nana land and didn't want to really participate with anything. And I also found that doing that in conjunction with the stuff we were already doing, we were spending too much time. So we have just nixed the good and the beautiful. I don't know at this point if I'm going to be doing any other activities for grammar, or if I'm going to do anything in specific for writing right now. As of right now, she's just telling me stories on our game days when we do the game Tall Tale. So that'll be in a wholly separate video as to what I do on that. But I don't feel like writing right now is something that is as important. Handwriting, sure, we do a few things in the mornings when I'm reading, and that's fine. But writing and grammar, I'm not going to focus on at this exact moment. I think we're just going to focus on doing our reading right now. As for her math, we are continuing with Moffitt Girls Math Made Fun, and it is just a fun curriculum, super hands-on, and we have no complaints with that. I absolutely love it. We are continuing with that. She is in love with that curriculum. Wow, that is still really, really hot. Okay, so after lunch, we have our second loop I have mentioned before in our schedule. Now, this year, doing school after lunch is a totally new concept to my kids. So we're still kind of getting used to that and trying to navigate the waters on transitioning from upstairs to downstairs. Art days are so much easier because we are up here. I just pull out my laptop and then we're sitting around the table doing art projects or drawing, whatever the art lesson entails. And that works out really well because we're not trying to transition downstairs. But when it comes to geography and music, everything's downstairs, and trying to bring it up here is just too much to do. And if you guys have any suggestions, I'm just going to go ahead and ask. I would love some transition suggestions on how I can get my kids back downstairs without trouble and a fight, because yes, that's difficult, to be seriously and honest with you. But once we are downstairs, the kids love it. They really do. Music is super fun right now. The kids are still young, so, we're not doing anything super serious. We're just learning the basic beats and those kinds of things. And for my older son, he just got a guitar for his birthday. And so he's on his, shall I say, free time, is learning through YouTube, of course, how to play a guitar. And he's having a really good time with that. And then my daughters really kind of enjoy the keyboard, so she'll go down and fiddle with that some on her own because we have been teaching them sort of the keys on the keyboard and that kind of thing. As for geography, that's going really, really well. I love the Draw the U.S., a book that we're going through. We're going through it in order of section of the United States, and that is going really well as singing the songs from the classical conversations. Again, we are not a CC family. We just love the songs. So that's how we roll here. We pick and choose from everything and anything that is the best, in my personal opinion. So that is it for our changes in our daily and essential, homeschooling life. It's just changing the loop in the first loop of the day, and that we are kind of looping, but it's a different kind of loop. We're just looping the study. We're taking one study and then doing it another study. And again, we're doing like a 2 history to 1 science study right now, just because there's so much to cover in U.S. history. So I feel like that's working okay. I will let you know if it's not, because me being the science person that I am, I'm not getting as much science as I would like, in my personal opinion. So I'm not sure if we might change that up a bit and just end up doing 2 years of U.S. history. We're gonna brainstorm on that. Again, it's constantly brainstorming, constantly figuring out what's gonna work. And then for my daughter, just not doing the good and the beautiful anymore, just focusing on her reading right now. And I will assess whether or not we will start writing after the new year, if she's ready. So right now she writes, letters to family and cards and things like that. So she's fine in writing, in my personal opinion. So I don't feel like she needs to sit there and write a paragraph right now at her age. I just don't think she's ready for that. So we will be tackling that and addressing that at the new year. The only additional thing I have to add to everything is kind of a personal thing, and that we are no longer doing our co-op this year. And that is, that's a personal choice I had to make. And it was a very difficult one. My children are now awake. I tried to film this before my children got up. Okay, so real quick, we are just changing. We're not doing co-op anymore. Hi, honey. The only thing is that our schedule now has an opening on Mondays, and right now we have not filled it. I'm going to be totally truthful. We are not doing an extra day of school. Mondays are our extra weekend days. I kind of like it right now. So I know that probably needs to change because I've actually been including co-op days in our required days of the year. So I will be trying to figure out what we're going to be doing that day. If everything prayed goes back to normal, we hopefully will be doing some field trips.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys for watching my video. I hope the things I have shared help you out in some way and give you some encouragement that changing things up throughout the year is totally okay and really normal, and don't be afraid of it, because honestly, all you have to do is just go with your gut. Have a nice day. Talk to you later. Bye.